Welcome to Unity in Naperville live stream. We're here every Sunday at 10:45. Thank you for joining us. My name is Rhonda-Pignato. I'm going to be the service leader today. And at this time, we are live streaming our services, but we are here at Unity Church to bring the church to you. You will hear more later as to when you will be invited to join us. But for now, sit back. Stay in your jammies, sip on your coffee, and join us from the comfort of your own home. We're really glad you joined us because it's really important to bring some kind of spiritual message constantly in our lives during this time to keep us uplifted and connected. We have a lot of classes going on here at Unity in Naperville, and one of the classes had to do with energy exercises, which I do every morning, and one of them is called Connecting Heaven and Earth, and it's a stretch. And that's what we try to do here. We try to understand that we are the connection here between heaven and earth, and we try to celebrate that connection. And one of the best ways to realize that connection is through music. And we have a wonderful music team we call Highest Good. Say hello, Highest Good. Hello. Say hi. And they are going to uplift us in song. The Reverend here is Reverend Kitty Benson. She's waving from the front row, if you can see that. If not, she will be up here shortly to bring our opening prayer. But sit back. I'm sure most of you know this song, and please join us as we lift our spirits. Thanks, guys. Bring us away.
See that again, guys. Woo! Good morning, everyone. Wherever you are, I invite you to sing along. Words should be on the screen. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Everybody, one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. And let's get together and feel alright. People, get ready. People, get ready. There's a train of coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. Don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. People, get ready. People, get ready. There's a train of coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. Don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright, everybody. One love, one heart. And let's get together and feel alright. Let's take it up. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright, everybody. One love, one heart. together and feel. How you feeling this morning? Let me hear you. Let me hear you out there. Let's feel alright. I do believe I did hear you. All the way over here. Let's stay in that feeling all right place right now. And celebrate that there's only one love and that we are all part of that one love, that one connected. Let me hear you, Mark. Let's sing, I am not a drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. I am not a drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. God and I are one. This drop is the ocean. Verse again, I am not a drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. I am not a drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. God and I are one. This drop is the ocean. Drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. I am not a drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. God and I are one. This drop is the ocean. Yes. Oh, 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 ocean. This drop is the ocean. Oh, 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 ocean. Oh, 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 this drop is the ocean. Thank you. Glad to have you back, Kitty.
But you were gone for a little while, so yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Kitty Benson, the minister here at Unity. So glad to be back and be able to spend this time with you this morning. Thank you for making the time to make that connection to Spirit, joining your hearts with our hearts. Let's just close our eyes for a moment and come together in prayer. Loving Spirit, we are so grateful to know that in this one presence and power, our hearts are joined together. We feel a sense of connection, not just to our friends here at Unity, to our families, to those around the world. No matter the distance, we are always joined in love, in peace, in joy, as we choose, as we focus, as we remember, one with the one, surrounded by this ocean and filled by this ocean, expressing this ocean. So it is. Now we let it be. Amen. Will you join me in speaking our invocation? The words are up here on the screen. Together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And so it is. Do we have another song? We do. Okay.
I love that, Kitty. We are one with the one. Nothing can separate us from that connection. And if we have a thought that's hanging like a curtain between our knowing that, now's the time to push it aside, to raise that veil and understand our connection. I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil, and I want to know you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil, and I want to see you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to hear you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to feel you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to praise you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to love you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil.
Beautiful. Thank you. Perfect song for today, talking about raising the veil. So if you are just checking in with us here at Unity for the first time, I was gone for the last couple of weeks, and grateful to Michael and Mary Beth Spear, ministers who stepped in for me and shared some wonderful messages with you, and I'm grateful that you gave them your loving support as I was away. You know, I've been kind of torn in half here, wanting to get the heck out of town and then stay here and take care of my babies. You know, I had scheduled a vacation in, I guess, late March, and, you know, we know mid-March that we had to close our building and try and do church in a whole new way, and we got a chance to pioneer again. I don't know if any of you, some of you know that I started this ministry about 12, 13 years ago, and it felt a lot like starting over again when we went to this format. I think I told you guys a little secret after it was all said and done that I was actually doing Sunday services from my bedroom. Just over there. I haven't made my bed yet, but no, just kidding. So part of me wanted to go on that vacation. I was at a place where I really needed it at the time, and the other part knew I needed to just be here. We needed to regroup and figure out how we could create this community online. And I just want to thank all of you, especially Kim-Char and Parker. They have been our major heroes through all of this. And yeah. In making the technology possible for us and helping us put on our Sunday morning services. But then so many others of you have stepped in to help lead small groups online and in our Zoom environment, and just felt such a loving enthusiasm for creating this new ministry that we've done over the past few months. And I imagine that during this time, as you tried to get used to this, there were a lot of other things you were trying to get used to in your life. And the pandemic, you know, having the greatest influence on the world right now, has caused limitation for us in many ways, but possibly fear for some of us in many ways, and just a need to be watchful, and your lives have probably changed quite a bit during this time. I know that I have wanted to be there for you, for those of you who have been suffering health challenges. And so it's important to me that I was around for you as you were being faced with, you know, what the world was offering, and being a reminder that there's more power going on here than a flu virus, that there is the very Spirit of God, which is our healing life energy. And so that was part of my work here, supporting you and reminding you of that. Some of you were asked to leave your jobs because your businesses were no longer viable. And it's been my role to help you remember that that job is not your source, that the Spirit of God is that which provides all of our good, if we will remember that and keep our attention on that. And when George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, that took what we were experiencing to a whole new level, and calling on us to approach life in a different way in many ways. And again, possibly fear for you, possibly anger for you. Obviously, we saw it show up in many different ways around our country, and we still are. And again, I wanted to be here in order to show you that we may, each one of us, be harboring some kind of unconscious bias that needs to be looked at. And what can we do? What is mine to do? If you haven't found that group yet on Facebook, I highly recommend it, because it's just a good way to continue to deepen your understanding of what's happening among the races in our country and what you can do to heal that. And at some point, I realized that I was becoming less and less effective at what I was trying to do. And you may have felt that too, a sense of overwhelm. But my mind was kind of muddled, and it was hard for me to be thinking straight. And I knew that it was time for me to get away. And I'll just tell you that I went to Unity Village, and I had the place to myself. Yes, yes. I mean, I had a room situation where I could have meals in my room, and I just spent a lot of time either there or in my car out on the grounds or taking walks out in nature or being with the fountains, and there was no one there but me. So I couldn't have chosen a better spot to find my way again. But what came to mind before I left and when I made the decision to take this time was an old Chinese proverb, actually from Lao Tzu, up here on the screen. He said, "Muddy water let stand becomes clear." Have you heard that before? Muddy water let stand becomes clear. And that's how I was feeling, was a glass full of muddy water. And I was the one that was supposed to be bringing the light, and bringing the joy, and bringing the peace, and bringing the encouragement, and reminding you of the flow of God's good in our life. And I was feeling like a glass of muddy water. And I'm guessing that you can relate at some level based on all the changes that have been going on in our lives over the last few months. But you know, even without the pandemic, even without what's been happening in racial upheaval and an upcoming election, add that to the mix, just our daily life can create a sense of muddiness in us. And this is the point where I really wish you were all sitting here, because normally what I would do is ask you to give me some feedback. So I'm just going to ask you guys that are here today, when you look at that quote up there, "Muddy water let stand becomes clear," what would you say the water is? Our mind. Anything else? Our emotions. Perspective. Awareness. Consciousness. It's a neutral place. It's the very essence of our being. It's what we are. And it can be muddy or it can be clear. And I think that I know that you and I were designed to be clear, that as spiritual beings, we are always clear. And it's important that we maintain that clarity so that our Christ consciousness can shine through, so that we can reveal that higher part of ourself and know what the next thing is to do, so that our 12 spiritual powers can come through to live our life, especially in these difficult times. It's important that we become clear. And yet, I'm going to bet that for most of us, especially now, we feel we're more often in a muddy consciousness. And it's not because we don't we come into that body of a baby perfectly clear, and then over time, our human experience starts to muddy the waters. You know, it's what we learn from parents and other adults and peers and society and teachers. We just watch. That's all we have to do as children, is just watch, and we start to learn and start to muddy that consciousness. It's something where we learn sooner to protect ourselves, to defend ourselves, to know when it's time to be afraid, to know when it's time to compete, to fight or flee. We learn all of those things from what we're seeing around us, even though that is not our nature. That is not how we came in. But that heavy, thick mud that we start taking into our consciousness begins to become normal. It's our normal point of view at some point. It's kind of like, when I go and visit my mom, I cannot drink her water. I mean, you turn on that tap and I just retch. And she's like, "There is nothing wrong with that water. I drink it every day." Well, that's the thing. She drinks it every day, and she's gotten used to it. She's got a water softener, and it just really adds to the of it. And she just has lived drinking this water thinking it's perfectly normal, until one time I brought a jug of water with me. I gave her one of those glasses of water. She went, "Wow, that's really good." But it's really easy for that muddy water, when you live with it long enough, for it to feel like it's normal. And I was looking for a few examples of this, which one came up that was a little bit, I don't want to use the word scary, but oh my. This is from Wayne Muller's book, Sabbath. And if you just want to feel better, just hold the book. I'm not kidding. This is a book where if you just dive in to a page or two, you're going to feel better. But he's telling a story. He said Charles is a gifted, thoughtful physician. And one day we were discussing the effects of exhaustion on the quality of our work. Physicians are trained to work when they are exhausted, required from the moment they begin medical school to perform when they are sleep-deprived, hurried, and overloaded. He said, I discovered in medical school that if I saw a patient when I was tired or overworked, I would order a lot of tests. I was so exhausted, I couldn't tell exactly what was going on. I could see the symptoms, I could recognize the possible diagnoses, but I couldn't really hear how it all fit together. So I got in the habit of ordering a battery of tests, hoping they'd tell me what I was missing. But when I was rested, if I had an opportunity to get some sleep or go for a quiet walk, when I saw the next patient, I could rely on my intuition and experience and allow it to give me a pretty accurate reading of what was happening. If there was any uncertainty about my diagnosis, I would order a single specific test to confirm or deny it. But when I could take the time to listen and be present with them and their illness, I was almost always right. Otherwise, it just becomes, this muddy water just becomes normal for us. Even sickness for us is a normal thing. As a matter of fact, I've heard people say, well, at least now I can rest. Now that I'm sick and stuck in bed, at least I can catch up on my rest. It's almost like something that we're looking forward to. And then add all the crises going on today where our distancing and our masks and, just making sure that we're being vigilant about our environment, that all is starting to come to feel normal. And when we think about what George Floyd's death did for us, it awoke us to the fact that we had been accepting bias as normal for most of us. And all of this is carrying this negative, heavy energy that is basically broadcasting, there's not enough, I'm not enough, and that's normal. Our water just gets cloudier and cloudier. Even when we have good intentions, we can cloudy our water. I don't know about you, but I spent a lot of years in the business world in San Francisco, and overwork was rewarded. If you spent a lot of hours at the job, you were considered to be somebody that should be identified as a hero. And just having a busy life in general, whether you have a job to go to or not, we sometimes feel like that is the label or what we must do to get the label to be successful in people's eyes, is to make sure that our calendar is always full. But even though we're trying to be productive, all of that activity, that interaction is draining to us if we don't find balance in it. It continues to add to the thickness of our water. It drains our life force. I mean, it's literally taking oxygen out of us. Even when we're just hanging out with loved ones, if we haven't found a balance, every word can be a drain out of us. But we still say just one more phone call, one more appointment, one more errand, one more Facebook post. Yeah, I know you. And ultimately, we can't really see where we're going. Is this starting to sound familiar? Muddy water let stand becomes clear. Now, obviously, if it's telling us that we have to let it stand, it means that we're not letting it stand, and the opposite of that is churning it up. I mean, just take a look at the list up here on the screen and see if this sounds like some of your behavior. Maybe you're the person who just can't stop talking, that you have to comment on everything. Or you're the person who can't sit still, that you have to be doing. Matter of fact, it's probably better to be busy doing anything than doing nothing. Or it's just that you were born with that busy gene and you feel like there's something wrong if you're sitting still for any length of time. Maybe you're the person who has to constantly turn on the news to see what's happening, to make sure that you're aware of all the scary stuff that's going on around you, and let other people tell you how to think about it and how to respond. Maybe some of you are constantly telling your story about how someone did you wrong, and that no matter who will listen, you will say how you are the victim and you will argue for your limitations. That's muddying your water. Perhaps your field of friendship, your peeps, are toxic. That when you get together, all you do is judge and complain. Or you're somebody who uses your beautiful power of imagination, but you use it to imagine the worst, to expect the worst to come into your life. And as I mentioned, there's some of us who can't stop working. We call them workaholics. But we get to the point where we're kind of proud to say, I haven't taken a day off in months. But you know, the one thing that I hear most often from people when I say, how are you doing, is busy. I'm so busy. And let me show you my calendar. There's an old tale about a man named Rabbi Levi who saw a man running in the street, and he asked him, why do you run? The man replied, I'm running after my good fortune. Rabbi Levi tells him, silly man, your good fortune has been trying to chase you, but you are running too fast. You know, all of those behaviors that we listed there are what contributes to this cloudy mess. It's draining, it's exhausting, it adds as a barrier between us and spirit. We can't let that divine wisdom shine through us. Our veil is getting thicker and heavier between us and the spiritual dimension. And the results of all this is we can't see our way clear. We keep bumping into things. We keep missing the signs. We find ourselves in this really toxic environment that's weighing on us. We can't figure out why our lives are so slowed down, why we're not making any progress. We're just kind of sludging through mud. And all the while, we feel that sense of churning going on at this subliminal level where it comes up with a sense of being just out of sync with life. And when we're out of sync with life, we're really out of sync with spirit, which is what makes us susceptible to sickness. Could that be part of what's contributing to this virus around our planet? Is that we're out of sync with our higher self. That means we're lowering our energy and we are out of relationship with the divine mind that is here to guide our body to its natural state of well-being. Part of this is feeling confused, hard to make decisions, feeling depressed. And I don't blame you if you get up after a night's sleep and feel exhausted. Can you relate to that? I have heard it said that when we drive a motorcycle at high speed, even the smallest stone in the road can be a deadly threat. Because we're just not prepared. We have no resources left to navigate through this. One of the biggest influences in this muddy water for us is the collective consciousness. We can easily get swept away with the tide of consciousness. Something that Ben Jameson wrote up here on the screen. He says, until somebody decides to take responsibility for their own consciousness, the weight of the masses will have greater pull than anything else. If the majority of the planet is living in fear, the unconscious person will be subject to that fear. And most, if not all of their experience, will be filtered through generalized fear. Race consciousness, that's collective consciousness, does not trend towards the positive. How much of your exhaustion, your muddled consciousness is being contributed to by the collective consciousness? It might be the collective country that we live in. It might be the culture that you come from. It might be the company that you work for or the company that you keep. It doesn't matter. There are large groups of people who hold a single consciousness, and we can't help but fall into that. Whether it's clear or muddy, we are just carried away by it, unless we choose to step out of the flood. Something that Wayne Muller said in his book Sabbath is, there comes a moment in our striving when more effort actually becomes counterproductive, when our frantic busyness only muddles the waters of our wisdom and understanding. When we become still and allow our life to rest, we feel a renewal of energy and gradual clarity of perception. Now, you may not be feeling too great right now, and I'm actually about done with my message. I'm going to pick this up next week and talk more about how to let our water stand and how it will become clear. But I have some work for you to do this week, because it's just as important that we become aware of the problem as it is to heal the problem. If many of you are listening to this and saying, oh, that's not me, then just know that we're in denial, and it's not a good form of denial. And we will continue to feel that muddiness, that strain, that stress, that tension. It might feel like being pushed or pressured or rushed. You might know that you're in a muddy state of consciousness when you just feel brittle or hard or dry. Or maybe it's something like feeling confused, hopeless, depressed, empty. Any of those qualities, which are probably pretty normal for this environment right now, are indicating that we have some work to do. So there's a couple things I'm going to ask you to do. First, up here on the screen, if you notice yourself having these kinds of feelings, I'm going to ask you to take a pause, and we need to take a pause, body, mind, emotions, and spirit. So literally, when you start to feel that sense of overwhelm or confusion or whatever it is that feels muddy to you, I'm going to ask you to literally, physically stop what you're doing in the moment. You know, it might be that you're trying to write an email, or that you're having a conversation with someone, or that you've got some kind of errand that you're doing. I'm going to ask you to pull over and stop. Physically stop all activity. Feel the pause in your body. And then secondly, I'm going to ask you to deal with the thoughts by shifting from what's going on up here in your mind and drop down into your heart and focus on your breath. Stop thoughts by focusing on something that isn't a thought. It's just breathing. Also, address your emotions by sending loving care to yourself. Pause long enough to just say, I love you, kitty. Fill in your name. It's going to be okay. You're doing the best that you can. It's all going to be all right. And then ultimately what we want to do is connect spiritually. Pause and feel that connection with spirit and just surrender into it. You might even want to just open your hands and say, I surrender into this spirit that is working for my good. It has to be all aspects of our consciousness for it to really work. Now, that's just a simple step that we can do to get immediate relief, and then we'll talk more about how to be more proactive. But one of the things you can do this week proactively to deal with this muddiness is find something that you do on a regular basis and allow it to be a catalyst for a pause. So, for instance, let's say that every time you sit down to eat, most of you are eating, right? Hopefully. So just before some food goes into your mouth, take a pause and offer a blessing. Every time you reach for a doorknob to go in or out, take a pause and a breath. Every time you find yourself sitting at a stoplight, instead of resisting it, just close your eyes and say, I choose to pause. And as you're laying your head on the pillow, just pause before you fall into a deep sleep and just say thank you. Thank you. Be mindful when your head is on that pillow that it's not about what I did or didn't get done today, or I wish that I had more hours in the day, but just thank you. Let evening come. I want to share one last scripture with you from the book of Matthew, chapter 14. After Jesus had sent the crowds away, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone.
Let the light of late afternoon shine through chinks in the barn, moving up the bales as the sun moves down. Let the cricket take up chafing as a woman takes up her needles and her yarn. Let evening come. Let dew collect on the hoe, abandoned in long grass. Let the stars appear, and the moon disclose her silver horn. Let the fox go back to its sandy den. Let the wind die down. Let the shed go black inside. Let evening come. To the bottle in the ditch, to the scoop in the oats, to the air in the lung. Let evening come. Let it come as it will, and don't be afraid. God does not leave us comfortless. So let evening come.
Let's take a deep breath together. And though the sun is out, let's imagine that evening has come. That the stars are overhead. That we feel the very essence of divine love all around us. Let evening come to my soul. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go. Just breathe. I rest in the knowing that God's good is everywhere. I simply allow. In this pause, I feel the very essence of life thrumming through my body.
There is nothing I need to but allow life to flow and renew. I surrender. I know that as I move about through my day later, I will meet God's continual good. It shows up as a smiling face, a friendly word, a spot of beauty. God's good comes as I allow. From this place of knowing and trust, I breathe deeply and relax. For even in the evening, infinite good flows. Clarity of mind flows. Divine life flows. And I am grateful. So it is. And now I let it be. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Kitty. I feel the need to share a practical spirituality that's exactly what you were talking about today, about the busyness. About 15 years ago, I was a practicing litigation attorney, and I would work from 8 to 6 p.m., no breaks, no lunch. That was my choice. And going to court in the morning, court in the afternoon. And I went to my spiritual leader at the time, and they suggested, can you take a break? That'll make you more productive. And it made no sense to me that if I stop working for a while, I'll get more work done. That didn't compute to my earthly brain, but I was willing to do that. And when I opened my eyes, I realized there were 2 churches on my walk from my office to the courthouse, because I couldn't figure out, where am I going to take this time out of this busy day in downtown Chicago in an office space? So on my way back to court in the morning, I would stop in those churches, and I would just close my eyes and take 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever I had that day, to just be at peace. And the second half of my day was so much more productive, happy, and I needed that moment of connecting heaven and earth, to go back to what I said before. So it is important to find those moments of practices that you can institute to have that connection in your life. So thank you for letting me share. Now is the time in our service where we are all going to share our tithes and our love offerings. There should be a button on Unity and Naperville website, or where you're watching, to donate. And let's all bless that offering with the words that are up here on the screen. Together, divine love through us blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you.
So grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you. We are all so blessed, aren't we? And we are blessed here at Unity in Naperville to have so many different things going on here. Even though we don't meet in the space, the online team, as Reverend Kitty said, has done a tremendous job of inviting everybody in, and we have a lot of different events, so let's go through them really quick. Before we get into them, though, we had originally wanted to reopen in August, but based on the low interest from the surveys of attending that early and what's going on in Illinois with the cases, the board has decided that we're tentatively putting that off to September, so keep advised, because it was going to be fluid. I was going to get there. We will constantly be fluid in what we are doing based on your needs and the health and spiritual needs of this entire community. But keep a lookout for another survey that might be coming to gauge your interest in the September opening. Next, lunch online together. That's something we do. Kim-Char, you want to give a shout out to that one?
Every Tuesday and Thursday online. Just go to unitycommunityconnect.com and click on the Lunch Together online channel and join us by clicking the Zoom button in that channel. And we gather from 12 to 1. You can be there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the whole time. We just enjoy spying on what the other folks are eating and talking story and just generally enjoying one another's company.
And this week, you guys actually had a fun little activity, I believe.
Yes, we had mozzarella madness happen this week. I will have to rename it now, mozzarella mayhem. A lot of interesting things happened there. I'm going to tell you right now. Maybe we'll have some video and some pictures on Tuesday, everyone.
So there's a variety of things that happen on that particular luncheon. But on Wednesdays, there is a lunch called Be Inspired and Inspire Others. That is focused on the message here that was from this past Sunday service. I attended that one this week with Mary Beth and Michael Spears, and it was wonderful. So please join. That's Wednesday at noon for about a half hour to share thoughts about the message for the day, or for the week, and share your practical experiences with the spiritual message that Reverend Kitty has brought. You can click on Unity Community Connect and find the channel that is entitled Be Inspired, to click on that one, and then you click on to join the Zoom. I almost skipped over. Unity Women's Group is back. We are going to be meeting online. Yeah, it's been on a hiatus because we always had it in a nice homey atmosphere at Marge and Tom Schneider's house. But we have decided that, okay, we need to get this back into our lives. Us women need to get together. We need to have some different kind of energy, camaraderie, take the messages that we usually do and bring them in the online platform. And this week, it's going to be this Friday at 7 p.m., and it's going to be featuring Shafandra Matthews with the title, I Was Almost Never Born. And it's going to examine some ideology of racism, white privilege, and social injustice. So if you would like to attend, please email Marge Schneider. Her email is up there. If you can, I know you can see that online. Next, we've got something new. This is called Meet Reverend Kitty. So if you want to catch up with her because you already know her and you kind of want to connect with her, or if you're relatively new and you just want to get acquainted with her, she is going to have sharing groups where everyone can share their heart. She's going to keep them small to about 5 to 6 people per group and keep them around 30 to 60 minutes. A variety of times to meet. A lot of people's schedule. They're up there August 1st, August 4th, August 6th, different times, different dates. Look at the unityinnaperville.org calendar to find the one that works for you, and please click on the Eventbrite link because she's trying to keep them to small groups so that everyone kind of can have a nice little camaraderie going on. Or if you need help with that, if you're not sure about how to do this Eventbrite clicking on, it's very easy, but I say that because I've done it before. First time it wasn't easy first, so if you need a little help, you can email admin@unityinnaperville.org and you will get some help with that. And we have our healing service, not this week, but the following week on Thursday at 7 p.m. That is going to be available via live stream. So go to unityinnaperville.org and click on the live stream at 7 p.m. and you will be invited into our healing service. Next, Unity in Naperville has decided to have a little camping campfire. So usually in the summer, there's activities like going to camp, right, Kim-Char?
Yes.
And there, all kinds of activities go on during around a campfire. So on Fridays in August at 7 p.m., Unity in Naperville is going to have a virtual campfire and featuring the first weekend a sing-along, the second weekend storytelling, next one crafts, and next talent show. I have a feeling Kim-Char, Meredith, and Kevin Conlin is going to have a big hand in some of those.
Yes,
And
that's
you,
right.
hopefully, the talent show is for everybody. Come on.
Yes, right.
All right, and then next, prayer on call. That's where today we have our prayer chaplains who have graciously put themselves at service to you by being available. If you would like confidential prayer with one of our prayer chaplains, we ask that you email prayer@unityinnaperville.org today by 12:30. Put your name and your phone number so that they can contact you, and you will get a call back by 1, and one of our prayer chaplains will confidentially pray with you. You can also mention prayer on call in the email, so that right in the title of it, so that they know what that is. And then finally, today, since Reverend Kitty's back, we're going to go back to sharing your questions and comments about today's message. And so as soon as we're done, we're going to keep the live stream going. And whatever you have shared question-wise or comment-wise on Facebook, I believe. Parker, is it available on Facebook? We'll get the messages too?
Yep.
Facebook, okay. Or you can text 630-793-0993. And she's ready. She's holding up the phone, so it's kind of like a telethon. We're waiting for your call or your text. And I think that's all the announcements we have today. And in case you didn't recognize me, because I'm Clark Kent right now, I am Rhonda Pignato, and it's been my pleasure to be your service leader. So why don't we have a closing song? What are we singing today?
Well, in the morning before, when we're running through, I sing it as I'm choosing Kevin today. But we'll go ahead and follow the lyric on the screen. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing love today. Let's choose peace. I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing peace today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing peace today. Let's say I'm choosing Kevin. Yes, I'm choosing Kevin today. I'm choosing Kevin today. I am walking the road of Kevin right now, singing I'm choosing Kevin today. And I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. It's good to send you a blessing, brother. Blessings to all of highest good.
So, can we go on to our closing affirmation? We're actually going to say this proverb together because it says it all, right? It's a great reminder. So let's say it together. Muddy water, let stand, becomes clear. That is your homework for this week. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how to make that happen next Sunday. Is there anything else up here? Okay. So we would love to have you hang on here with us and just let us know where you're at today. It might have been something in one of the announcements you have questions about. It might be the message. It might be you just want to check in and tell us how you are. So let's see what you got to say.
I am just checking through Facebook, Kitty.
Okay, well, you can either text at 630-793-0993, or you can text right there on the screen, put it in the comment box. And, hi, Kitty, this is Karen. What is the name of the author of the book that you read out of today? His name is Wayne Muller, M-U-L-L-E-R. He's written several books that are focused on peace in yourself, and this one's called Sabbath. So I highly recommend it. Thank you.
And Kitty, I'll add that Catherine Falser wrote, I just ordered Wayne Muller's Sabbath from www.semicolonshy.com, a Chicago black woman-owned bookstore.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it takes a
Kathy.
few days longer and costs a few dollars more, but it's certainly worth supporting the local merchants.
Wonderful. That's a great idea.
Love it.
Thank you. Mary Beth and Michael Spear, welcome back. So grateful that you let the water clear. It shows. That's good. We love you. I love you too. It's good to be back.
Susan K. Stein says she is visiting from Beach Park, Illinois. Hello,
Hi,
family. She
Susan
says,
K.
hi, Susan.
How
Glad
are
to
ya?
have you with us.
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
I'm always curious, and if you have a chance to write again, Susan, how did you find us? I mean, how did you land on unityandnaperville.org this morning? So send us a text so we can find out. Okay, what else do you want to share, everybody? Here's one. Good morning, Kitty. It's Kathy Folsey here. Thank you for your message. Thank you. Glad that you were able to spend some time with us this morning.
Cami Lance writes, love, highest good. You feed my musical soul.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you, Cami.
Yeah.
I love that you're here.
Feeds my soul, too. I missed you guys.
I'm going to switch over. And I just want to shout out to some of the people I see logged on. They may not necessarily comment, but so hello to Susan Snowden.
Hey, Susan.
Gordon Herzog's here this
Gordon.
morning. Hey, James Coughlin. Wait, James, where do you live? Florida? Am I right?
What's the last name?
Coughlin? Is that how you pronounce it, James? I think so.
I think that he does live in Florida.
I think he does live in Florida.
Yeah.
He's come to lunch together online a few times. We always love that when
Good
he
deal.
joins us. So let's see what else we've got in Facebook.
Texting is coming in at 630-793-0993, and somebody said, I am feeling in muddy water lately, so now I will take a pause. I will take that with you, my dear. That's the thing. It's got to be conscious choice, because most of the time we just get used to it and don't even know we're in it. So thank you for being aware that you're in it and you're willing to take a pause.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. We did that this week as well.
What'd you do?
We actually, through Airbnb, rented. We didn't want to, go to any place crowded, but we went to Appleton, Wisconsin, of all places.
I feel like I've been through there. Where is it? Is it near a big city?
It's probably an hour away from Green Bay.
Green Bay,
And
okay.
It's beautiful. It was
love the
such
name.
a quiet, peaceful place, and even just walking through the neighborhood, it's fun because we just saw every house was different, and although everyone had a front porch, they hang out a lot on their front porches in Appleton. I get the feeling. So it was just restful, easy, peaceful, and I totally got what you were sharing today.
Wonderful.
I'm like, yes.
Kathy again. Is Jordan with us again today? He's taking the day off, but Kathy says, welcome, Jordan. We're glad to have you. What an awesome family. Thank you to Cindy Blank for running our slides today.
That's
yeah.
right. Yay, Susan Rios says, I really appreciated your message, Reverend Miss Kitty. Miss Kitty there.
That's all right.
I send big virtual hugs to all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sue. For those of you who've been around for a long time, I'm going to throw out a name, Gail Tate. If you remember Gail Tate, I got an email from her recently, and she has moved to Tennessee. I know. And,
Wow.
you know, it sounds like she's got her peeps. And you talked about the porch. She says that's the joy of her new living environment, is that she's in a neighborhood where everybody kind of sits out on their porches and
That's
just says,
lovely.
hey, as people are going by and they chat. And so, Gail, I don't know if you're with us this morning, but love you, and it was glad to
Gail.
connect with you again.
That's lovely. Front porch living. Sue Long Morrison writes, great service. Glad to see you back, Kitty. My muddiness comes from my ego taking over. How do I tamp it down?
From your ego taking over. So, first of all, just those practices that I gave at the end of the message today will start to help you. I love what Rhonda shared about just making the time to sit down in the church for 15 minutes. Well, you don't have to go all the way to church somewhere to check in. Just every time you put your hand on a doorknob this week, just take a moment to breathe. Every time you're at a stoplight, just remember, I am choosing to pause. Every time you lay your head on your pillow, just start with thank you and another deep breath. It's those little tiny exercises done regularly that will start to change how your ego looks at life, I promise you. And
Wow.
come back next week because we'll talk more about what to do.
Changing things one doorknob at a time. One doorknob, I like that.
I love that.
I like it. So, you know, Susan K. Stein writes back, Reverend Christina Garzo visited you. I'm from UNS, but I miss singing along. I love your group singing. Oh, I'm glad you're singing along with us, Susan.
Now wait, that was from Christina Garza, or
No, it's from Susan Stein, and we had read a comment from her
Oh, yeah.
earlier. So she was telling us how she got here.
Okay, cool.
Evidently.
Thank you, Susan.
And Cindy Spees says, good morning, it's Cindy and Bill. What a great message, Reverend Kitty, and highest good is awesome. Thank you. And we love you and are so grateful for you lifting our spirits. Big hugs.
Thank you, Cindy and Bill.
Thank you.
Here's one from Sharon. Kitty and Unity and Naperville peeps, that's all of you. Grateful for swimming in the muddy water with you. Knowing that we are not alone and the pure joy in stilling muddy waters together. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Thank you, Sharon.
And Sue Long Morrison writes back, okay, going to try that. We'll be back next week.
Okay, good. I need to be back next week. I'm hoping you will be, because I got some things to say to myself. Oh, and Melinda, haha. After you touch the doorknob, sanitize. Very funny.
Anything else here? Okay, I don't see anything else popping
Anybody
up.
else?
Anyone else?
Going. So one of the things that we like to do after this part of the service is to go into our Zoom room in the live stream chat room at unitycommunityconnect.com. Look for the live stream chat room and then hit the Zoom link, and then we can actually see and talk to each other live that way. So why don't you meet me there now, and we'll finish up our conversation. So good to spend time with you this morning. Looking forward to all the things that are going on this week. Keep tied into unityinnaperville.org calendar. Just keep clicking every day, and you'll see lots of things going on this week.
And
Love
Kitty,
you guys.
may I share one thing?
Yeah.
If you're going to the Zoom room to hang out a little bit, you'll have to wait until the end video. Parker's going to run a video. When that is done, we'll be opening up that Zoom room. Just
Okay.
because it's the same account.
Yeah. And here's a video that I just came across this past week. No? Yes? No?
No.
Yes, we're going to watch the video. I came across this past week that is just another way for us to open our hearts to a sense of oneness with all people. So I hope you'll stay for the video, and then we'll see you over in the chat room. Love you guys.
Love you.